Downtime was pretty long today, but we will be discussing some major news about the live event that is happening in Fortnite OG July 26. Now, I know the event originally happened 7 years ago, but spoiler warning, there is actually some pretty significant changes that could be felt not just for Chapter OG, but also in Chapter 6. According to Hypex via PokeZFN, the crack in the sky caused by the visitor is going to turn reds. A significant change. And butterflies during the event will also turn red. I can't even remember seeing butterflies the first time, so another significant change. So why has this OG event been changed? And does it have anything to do with the spirit realm? Well, on that second point, according to Fortnite, the red looking rift in the sky in the files is called corrupted crack colour, hinting at its possible corruption capabilities and properties. Although the first cube also led to corruption, I theorise in this video that the cube coming to Fortnite OG could originate from the spirit realm in Chapter 6, allowing the visitor to escape the clutches of Chapter 1 by going through that rift, in some form of a trade-off. I also believe that Chapter OG, if it's part of the storyline, which I believe it is, it's not the past, it's the present, a refabrication, a retelling of our original Chapter 1. It's a ruse perpetrated by the last reality. We of course remember the 7 being consumed by Chrome, and we know thanks to Amy that the scientist is still alive. She was able to track him, which led her to jump into the rift gate, and she hasn't been seen since. A similar coloured crack in the sky, to be fair. But before Amy went through the rift gate, we found out that the 7 are facing a fate darker than the worst imaginable. What could be darker than being forced to relive your past, and in turn helping the last reality gain something? Things are just not adding up in Fortnite OG. We've had messages like, it's happening again, something's wrong, like someone is trying to tell us or warn the visitor. I'm pretty sure it's not the visitor warning us. We've had dialogue that suggests he finds this place familiar. I believe the last reality needs the 7 to replay these events for some nefarious evil. I surmise the last reality has scanned our memories before. Can they manipulate them to make us forget? I believe the OG island will have a 0-point shard, and they're using the 7 to facilitate them being able to obtain it. The OG promo for this season looks to be Chrome. So is this red crack in this butterfly somehow connected to the spirit realm? I've strongly theorised for years that the reason cubes appear different colours and can appear dormant is because they can tap into different realms. The essential power of the Fortnite universe. I believe we have spiritual, spectral, shadow, divine, and probably more. These colours are then replicated through cubes essentially, rifts, butterflies, 0-point anomalies. And for example, we've seen almost every colour replicate through those different vessels and vehicles. But the one we haven't seen is the red cube. So yes, I 100% believe there's a red cube, but is this the red cube? Is this when it happens? Is this when it comes? Like, this is why I like the theory that we're not in the past in Chapter OG, that it's a simulated reality manipulated and possibly created by an outside source like the last reality. There's just no need to mess around with the timeline just to facilitate this storyline. Like, if Chapter OG is just a couple realities over from Chapter 6, I think that's much easier to sort of digest. Like, we've had the TV, we've had the bunker lights flashing, something's wrong. And then we're going to see this event and the rifts are going to be red. Obviously on the grand scheme of things, they're minute changes, but if you've forgotten your memory, I feel like this is essential in storytelling if you have forgotten your memories. Like little details where it's trying to punch through to remind you that this isn't right. And that's why I don't like being back in time, because then that doesn't really work. Because they wouldn't have lived it before, wouldn't they? Unless of course the last reality made the visitor forget and then put him into the past. Obviously the visitor forgetting is a theory, but it's heavily implied with the 2 sets of dialogue we've already gotten. So anyway, as we get later on in the chapter, maybe they turn the dial up on things being really out of place, and one of those would be if a red cube came through in that crack in the sky and not Kevin, the purple cube. What would be his name? Revin? Redding? I don't know, let me know down in the comments what would we call a red cube. Clifford the big red cube? No. But when I started making the thumbnail for this video, I was like, a red cube might be a no-no with it going into the lake. I'm sure in-game it would look a bit more metallic maybe, and maybe not so like blood red. But anyway guys, let me know in the comments what you think is happening here. Let me know your opinions about the red cube, the rifts in the sky, and OG events being a bit different. subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.